So here's the HFSSTC that's got the IXDD630. It's whatever one. It doesn't have the enable on it. This is the Schmitt trigger oscillator. It's actually underneath that piece of aluminum down there. You almost see it. That tiny little capacitor is the shunt caps down there real dirty. I really had to shield that chip along with the small capacitor, and I had to sort of shield these pots. Grounded all pot housing, grounded this little shield here, grounded this, just running the bottom of the secondary off circuit ground also. So far I've actually ran this chip up to like 13 watts. I want to say it was probably 7 megahertz or higher, somewhere around 12 to 15 volts gate drive. I feel like I was just barely able to get away with it so long as I put a fan on it. About 7 watts or so, that thing really heats up, 6-7 watts. Putting the fan on it again, like I say, seems to run fine. Right now, I think it's running at, I've got the other channel on the trigger and the measurements and all that. But that's about 4.6 megahertz, something like that, right? So right there is about 10 watts. And it's about, you know, it's about 12.5 volts gate drive, right? If I can't actually tell too much difference between a 12 or 15 or even 20 volt gate drive, just visually from things I can observe, whether it be in the waveforms, the power draw or output, I just don't see the point, you know. So I don't see the point going much higher than about 12.5. All right, so I'm gonna do this at 30 volts. I'll start it off at 30 volts and kick that on. That actually came out on its own, which is pretty cool. So about 30 volts, about 100 watts the way it's tuned. So again, that's closer to like 4.5, 4.6. And I'm gonna bring that to about 40. And I feel like I could probably, I don't know, it's a little hard to tune, but I can tune it a little bit more, so pulls a little bit more power now. So that's sort of one of the things to where, you know, you want to get it to the point where your hand is not going to influence it a whole lot, moving it back and forth, because what's going to happen is you're going to move your hand close to adjust the pot, and you're going to have it set a certain way. Then as soon as you move your hand away, it's going to change the frequency. So I'll bring that to like 45, 150 watts, let's just say, right? And that's so that's about 300 volt swing on the drain there. So with the 300 volt swing on the drain there, I'm getting a little closer to, you know, the ceiling of where I would run that FET. That's not bad, about 4.5 megahertz. So I get the impression I could do like 7 if I wanted to. You know, again, I'd have to tune it a little better for more power, because 150 is nowhere near what I could be getting or pushing through this guy at 45, this particular setup. Running something like that, the heatsink doesn't get warm. It's just still got some losses there. Needs to be tuned a little better. So you can see there's a point where I bring it too low and it you know, it'll kind of fizzle out like that right there. If I bring it to about right there where it wants to almost fizzle out, then that works out almost to about the tuning to where I can then like bring the voltage up from there, and it does all right. So now I can do 150 at the 40 volts, bring it up to 45. Now I'm at like 170, right? So like the smallest little tuning here and there, you know, does make quite a difference. So again, what was difficult about that was, just getting this thing just right, because without doing all this shielding here, man, it was just way too difficult to get that thing tuned. So the downside with this is the coil gets incredibly hot. Like, all this stuff gets really hot. And I tried to hot glue the coil in place, it just keeps melting. I really can't get away with this because about at 150, it's already getting too hot. Probably what I'll try to do here is I'll just have to retune this damn thing, rewind some coils, and try to get it maybe closer to, like 7 megahertz, something like that. Let me try 50 volts. Do 50 volts for a little bit. So that's about 190 watts. A tungsten carbide bit on top there, little like grinder bit. So again, the power can actually go a little bit higher. I still need to like shield it better. It's not bad. It is putting out a pretty good amount.